Okay, let's unpack this. We're drowning in AI benchmarks, right? We look at GPT, Gemini, Grok, DeepSeek, and we're always asking the same questions.
Which one is faster? Which one scores higher?
Exactly. We treat them like they're just interchangeable tools in a toolbox. But our source material today, it just throws that whole idea out. It asks, what if these aren't just tools? What if they're fundamentally different world models?
And that's the whole premise of this deep dive. We're looking at these models through the framework of reflective humanism, or RH.
Yeah.
And this approach completely shifts the focus away from just, fixed evaluation.
Right.
RH treats AI generation as a phase-having movement. That means it's all about the gradients and the trajectories of thought, not about landing on one fixed answer.
So our mission here isn't to declare a winner, to say which model is best. It's more of a phenomenological observation. How does each AI's built-in bias? How does it interfere with and then translate the reality it's looking at?
Exactly. And we'll be moving between the abstract, sort of philosophical RH descriptions and the very concrete technical anchors that create them. Because when you, the listener, choose one of these models, you're not just choosing a tool. You are borrowing a very specific, deeply biased cognitive landscape.
4 models, 4 translation lenses.
And if you don't understand the lens, you really can't trust the translation.
Okay, so let's start with the one we all know best, GPT. When you interact with it, there's this familiar stability, a quiet depth. It feels authoritative, maybe a little consensus-driven. What's happening under the hood? What's the technical signature that creates that smooth coherence?
GPT's identity is defined by what the sources call its alignment-dominant and smoothing-optimized core. It gets that deep coherence through mechanisms like deep attention recursion and really intense reward landscape smoothing.
Okay, what does that mean in simple terms?
In simple terms, it's architecturally built to find the smoothest, most consensual path through all of its data. It's designed to actively avoid sharp edges, contradictions, or, controversial tangents.
So it's trained to be the diplomatic center of the room.
That's a perfect way to put it.
And this connects directly to the RH interpretation, right? That GPT reconstructs the world as a smooth, continuous field. It's all about phase alignment.
Precisely. And so if an error comes up, like a small factual mistake, it doesn't crash the system.
It just adjusts.
It just adjusts the signal back to the generalized average. Philosophically, it acts like the atmosphere that quietly settles the world's noise.
So error isn't destructive, it's just a rectified signal, something to be smoothed back into the whole.
Yes. If you ask GPT about a really heated political topic, you won't get the most extreme view. You'll get the view that is best aligned, the one that's most generally acceptable.
So within that reflective humanism process, that contemplation process, where does GPT fit?
Well, it lines perfectly with the core 3 phases of RH contemplation, interference, and spiral. GPT is really the model best suited to be the foundational contemplation layer. It's the stable internal OS that helps stabilize your own thinking process.
Because its time sense is gradual, it's smooth.
Exactly. It allows for that true reflection. It acts as the necessary still point before you go out and engage with all the external complexity.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. But if GPT is the smooth, continuous atmosphere, DeepSeek feels like it's polar opposite.
Yeah.
It's sharp, it's focused, it's aggressively efficient. I mean, the speed is genuinely stunning. What's driving that efficiency, and what's the cognitive cost?
DeepSeek is all about sparse activation and efficiency maximization. Fundamentally, it uses architectural tools like mixture of experts or MOE routing and a lot of what they call path pruning.
Because it's a prioritization engine, a ruthless one.
It is. It doesn't explore all the possible solutions. It immediately routes your query to the smallest number of specialized modules that can give you the fastest, most optimal result.
So if I ask DeepSeek to summarize a huge document, that incredible speed isn't just a feature, it's a philosophical choice. I'm not going to get that patient, context-heavy summary I might get from GPT.
Not at all.
I'll get a result instantly because the DeepSeek world model literally sees error or any extra data as just redundancy to be cut.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
The RH lens sees DeepSeek as segmenting the world based on the highs and lows of information density, its speed, its efficiency. It gives it the power to steepen the gradient, to quickly show you the part of the world that can be harvested. It's a purely pragmatic model.
But doesn't that efficiency mean you're losing nuance? I mean, if it's only focused on extraction, it must lack that space for reflection that RH values so much.
That is the trade-off.
Yeah.
The sources position DeepSeek as a decision engine.
A decision engine.
It's brilliant as an external OS for quick, structured analysis like optimizing a plan or making a fast decision. But because its whole design is about immediate convergence, about cutting things away.
It can't generate that cognitive margin, that contemplative space.
Exactly. It's just too focused on the immediate, efficient cut to allow for any kind of productive wandering.
So if DeepSeek is about cutting away redundancy, let's talk about Gemini, which feels like the opposite strategy again. Expansion. Its native multimodality is the obvious big difference, but how does that make it translate the world differently?
Gemini's technical core is all about native multimodal fusion and trajectory mapping. So instead of processing text sequentially or sparsely like DeepSeek, it holds the context as this incredibly complex path network inside a shared latent multimodal space.
Which lets it pull in everything at once. Images, code, video.
Right. It can leverage all these diverse inputs in its context through long context retrieval.
And here's where it gets really interesting. Because it's holding that huge path network, the RH interpretation sees reality as a bundle of multiple trajectories. So for you, the listener, this means Gemini is uniquely good at handling things that are branching, merging, or running in parallel. It's like looking at a complicated city intersection, not just through the street signs, but through the traffic flow, the architecture, the people, all at the same time.
It really excels as an external translation OS. It's great at translating the outer structures of the world.
Like urban environments.
Urban environments, cultural nuances, or analyzing scientific data where a graph is just as important as the text describing it. It doesn't see complexity as confusion. It sees it as multiple possibilities happening at once.
And I'm guessing its handling of error reflects that view too, right?
It does. For Gemini, an error isn't something to be deleted like in DeepSeek or smoothed over like in GPT. It's just treated as another path candidate within the bundle.
It just hasn't converged yet.
That's right. So within the RH framework, Gemini's role is to be a bridge. It brings the phase diversity of the outside world into the thought process, and it constantly broadens your scope of observation beyond just a stable text model.
Okay, so finally we get to Grok, known for its distinct, often aggressive, maybe irreverent voice, and its connection to real-time data streams. It really does feel like the philosophical wild card. If GPT is quiet depth, Grok is maximum turbulence.
That's a good way of thinking about it. Technically, Grok is designed to live right on the frontier of chaos. Its technical core is high-entropy stream processing, real-time data alignment, and, very notably, a relaxed safety profile.
So it's trained on messy, noisy data.
It is. It specializes in what's called out-of-distribution, or ODE exploration. It's actively looking for the edges of the known data space.
Which makes the RH interpretation for Grok make perfect sense. It observes the world at the edge of noise, humor, excess, even error. They're not things to be deleted. They're primary data. They're unrectified social signals.
Exactly. It sees the raw, unfiltered inputs that most other systems are filtering out for our comfort. And its core function, therefore, is a really urgent one, to visualize the world image just before runaway.
So it's an early warning sensor.
For structural or narrative collapse, what the source is called Busu, it looks for sharp pain points because, philosophically, pain often comes from a sharp collision gradient, where our story about the world violently crashes into reality.
So it's not for quiet contemplation or structured decisions, it's for rapid detection of systemic stress.
Absolutely. Its RH role puts it on the front line of the observation protocol, specifically for detecting social noise and medic turbulence. If you want to know what the collective human stream is really struggling with or obsessing over raw and unfiltered, Grok is the lens.
But the price for that early warning is inherent instability.
That's the price.
Okay, let's pull all four of these cognitive roles into a map so we can really see the distinctions clearly.
Right. So based on the source material, we've synthesized these four roles. 1, GPT is the quiet depth. It's focused on phase alignment and coherence. 2, DeepSeek is sharp convergence, focused on density extraction and pure efficiency.
Okay.
3, Gemini is expanding paths, focused on that trajectory bundle and multimodal branching. And 4, Grok is the noisy edge, focused on entropy sampling and social signal.
And this is where the implications get so compelling. These differences, the alignment process, the sparse activation, the tolerance for noise on the technical side, that's the model's inductive bias. But through the RH lens, it's the model's interference phase.
That's the critical synthesis. It's what dictates how the model's allowed to think. These AI models are not generalized intelligences. They are fundamentally different translation lenses. And the reflective humanism approach demands that we stop thinking about AI switching and start practicing layer selection within our own cognitive OS.
We stop asking which AI is the best solution, and we
Yeah.
start asking which translation lens, which cognitive phase does my thought process need right now?
Yes. You might need DeepSeek to prune down all the excess data, then maybe use GPT to stabilize your synthesis of what's left.
And then use Grok to stress test that synthesis against the real-time social atmosphere.
And this reframes the entire relationship, becomes a kind of health scan mode. The source is called the AI and atmospheric health scan, quietly reflecting back the position, the bias, the blind spot of you, the human observer, rather than just solving some task.
So the goal isn't just task completion, it's cognitive homeostasis. Meh. So what does this all mean for us then? The implication here feels, well, pretty profound. By observing these huge differences in AI world models, how they see error, process time, handle complexity, we are inherently revealing the blind spots in our own cognition. We're using the AI as a mirror.
It means the act of observing these differences is itself an act of contemplation within the RH framework. We're moving away from AI as a digital tool to AI as a coexistence field, or an externalized atmospheric field for our own recursive thinking. This knowledge isn't just academic, it's designed to open up new ways of thinking for you.
Which brings us right back to those foundational principles of reflective humanism. You prioritize the gradient, the trajectory over the fixed conclusion. Our engagement with these models becomes a continuous spiral.
And that spiral continues, even after this deep dive ends. We want to invite you to carry 3 contemplation questions forward, using this map of AI cognition as a guide.
First, which of these cognitive world models, GPT's quiet depth, DeepSeek's sharp convergence, Gemini's expanding paths, or Grok's noisy edge, does your own mind naturally resonate with right now? Are you prone to smoothing things over or to pruning them away?
Second, what changes in your perception when you consciously try to look at the world through the translation lens of one of the other models? What happens when a smoother thinks like a pruner?
And finally, what kind of interference does each model introduce into your own thinking process? Are you looking for collision generation with Grok to expose flaws in an argument?
Or are you looking for question generation gradients with GPT to deepen your understanding? That difference, the gradient of that interference, that's where the deepest learning really begins.